our population, that doesn't benefit a nation that's going through a pandemic, not knowing who's coming into the country. It doesn't benefit, the safety of our neighborhoods with cartels and certainly, bad people who smuggle drugs across the border. I mean, look at what this guy's doing. I mean, Paris Climate Agreement, another one, Sean. So we're going to start paying for all the environmental problems of China again. We're going to start paying for all the environmental problems of India again. And you go down the list, and honestly, I think people are going to miss Donald Trump really quickly. I think they're going to miss him really, really quickly because some of these policies that they're enacting, these executive orders, 40 in the first day, are madness, Sean. They're just madness.
Well, it's interesting. I think the people that will miss him the most probably in the end are going to be the media mob because your father calls him Sleepy Joe. I call him the weak, struggling, frail, cognitively struggling Joe Biden, who said 300 Americans twice are going to get the vaccine by summertime. I'm like, okay, catch up, Joe. But there's been nothing but from the day your father and Melania Trump came down the escalator at Trump Tower. It's been never-ending harassment for your dad, your family, Don Jr., Ivanka, every Barron even, Melania, everybody. And it continues now. We know the outcome of this latest charade. I played the double standard, and I'm just curious, as you hear the remarks of Democrats and compare them to the remarks of your dad, what your thoughts are.
Listen, Sean, I was there, 20 minutes after election. 20 minutes after election day in 2016. It was a beautiful day. I remember the Washington Post writing that story, which is this is the minute that impeachment begins, and they tried to get him with the Russia hoax, and they tried to get him with Ukraine, and they tried to take down Kavanaugh, and they tried to get him again, and they tried to manufacture everything, under the sun against my father, against all of us. They do it every single day. They continue to do it. Even when he's a private citizen, they're still trying to impeach him. I mean, that's how kind of deep this whole thing goes, and they want to tar and feather the man. They know he did a great job for this nation. They know that there's never been a more beloved political figure in our country's history. There are 75 million Americans who would follow him to the end of earth. I mean, they love the man. They love what he stands for. They love that he was a fighter, that he carried that fight largely alone. Oftentimes, he had to fight for the entire Republican Party, right? Because they weren't doing a whole lot of... Now you have a lot of good fighters, but you didn't back then, and people love that about him. People love that about... And then you look at Biden, by contrast. He doesn't have any of those traits. He's not doing great things for this nation. His heart's not in the right place. As you said, he's probably not 100% there. He's not. I don't think he is. His policies are disastrous, but they want to tar and feather the man. They want to do everything they can to not have him be a political force in the future. And honestly, they're only ingratiating my father's base even more, because every single time they go off on one of these charades, they expose the party, the radical left, for exactly who they are, Sean. And they can be evil, and they can be mean, and they can be calculating, and
consistent here. Like I'm playing the montage of all these Democrats. Go out and fight. And I'm reading this nonsense. President Trump said, "Fight like hell." They all say the same term. You heard Kamala Harris's comments, Joe Biden's comments, Chucky Schumer's threats to Supreme Court justices.
Sean,
Maxine Waters, I'm going to take your dad out tonight. Go ahead.
What about Eric Holder? How about you kick them when they're down? You run up to them and you kick them when they're down. I mean, there's so many of them. The hypocrisy.
My old football coach used to say,
about this a million times. The thing that gets said about me and the
kick
things that
them
get
where
said
you're
about Don
down.
and Ivanka and Tiffany and Barron and our whole family and all of
Must
us.
have been a Democrat.
There is a double standard in this country, a massive double standard. There's unequal justice in this country. You mentioned it with the new, DOJ guy, assistant head of the DOJ, who's happened to represent Hunter Biden, or, I mean, you see that. Can you imagine my father ever tried to do that? There is unequal, balance of justice in this country, and half of America sees it. It's quite frankly disturbing to them.
Yeah. All right. It's interesting. Let me ask you a question. If your dad decided to run in 2024, he comes to you and
He's still president, if you ask me.
Listen, what my father did is something that no political figure has ever done in
He won.
history. And he changed his country, and he changed it for the better, and he taught people how to fight, and he gave Americans the greatest civics lesson. And it's exactly, frankly, what this country needed. He's really a father to America, and I'm incredibly proud of him. And I would be right by his side
Should
again.
be.
As painful as it was, Sean, and you know how painful it was. As painful it was, I would be right by his side, encouraging him because he's an amazing guy, and I've never been more proud of him. I've just never been more proud of him.
Eric Trump, thank you. Good to see you again. Thanks for being with us. When we
Joe
come back,
Biden's not
Lindsey
my
Graham
president.
has a dire warning for the
Gonna have to
Democrats.
take me to the re-education
and
camps.
show